All right, what's happening, fam? L.A.R movement still moving. Book is entitled Lessons from a Non-Custodial Father at Amazon, Kindle, and Create Space. Yes, I got my Houdini hat on that I wore at work today. Yeah. Now, this video is entitled, the link will be in the description box below. This video is entitled Money and Mental Health. You know, a lot of times, whether people are talking about coming from the living in poverty, coming from poverty, or being rich and losing it, or being in the middle class and going towards poverty. When it comes to money, especially in this capitalistic society, money in some ways is tied to your mental health. You know, you think differently when you're broke. You think differently when you're in debt. Some people feel differently about themselves when they're broke or in debt. You know, people's confidence. People aren't confident. People are more insecure when they're broke, low on funds, or in debt than they are when they have money in the bank, for the most part. Now, it's crazy because generally you would think that money shouldn't affect your mindset, but the effects of not having it are adverse. If you're not eating every day, it's because you're broke. Now you can get creative and make meals and stuff, but if you just don't have the money, you don't have the money, so you're gonna starve. And people who starve think differently, act differently. You have people, you know, on the flip side of that, who have money and they have a narcissist problem. Like, you know, you got people who quote unquote successful and they go too far. You know, they go way too far. They act like, oh, because I got money, this is, you know, God has ordained me to be better than all you people. And then they're out there and they have to get brought back down to life. And, you know, you got people who didn't have money at first and then they got money, and getting the money made them more confident. You got people who were born in money and the money made them, you know, I shouldn't say that. People in the middle class who work their way up to money or earn money or whatever, they feel validated. And the people who were born in money or have had that lifestyle for long enough may be narcissistic. So let's get into this. When you don't have money and you're doing things that are dysfunctional and detrimental, that's when most people use it as an excuse to say, look, man, I was acting like this because, you know, I come from poverty, a bad situation. I just had to do what I had to do to survive. But, and it's understandable that you're not rational, you know, because poor people who use poverty as an excuse to not have integrity and morals and ethics are justified in being irrational because America is a capitalistic society. Well, he don't have nothing. Now, there are poor people who don't go out there, who just work through it or suffer through it until they get it together. And that's the big issue to me, because if you got somebody who's poor and they starving and they found they have the intestinal fortitude to say, look, this is my situation, I just got to push through it. Those people should be commended. But we always defer, because those are some of the mentally strongest people in the country. You know, people who are in America, as far the people who don't have it, but that isn't an excuse to go do something crazy. But we don't praise those type of people. We'll say, you know, this person did something they shouldn't have done because they didn't have any money, and that affected their mindset, and they did things that are detrimental to themselves and other people. But it's justifiable because they ain't have money, right? Problem with that is, if that person has money, they still do the same thing. So is that really a mental issue, or is that really they just a degenerate? You know, that goes for a certain part of people. Now on the flip side, you got people who they're completely narcissistic because of the money. You know, just for no reason. You know, I bought my 15th car today. Felt so good. All right. I mean, you can only drive one at a time. I mean, I hear you though. Look at this watch. It costs $750,000. I hear you, but okay. I'm better than you because my bank account says so. Your bank account's better than mine. Don't think you're a better human being though. You know, because if they lose the money, then what happens? You know, you're like Randolph and Mortimer on Trading Places. Now you done lost your mind, right? You had a heart attack. Why? Because their bank account's empty. Now you don't know who you are because you were the money. You were never you were your bank account. So if you lose that, you lose your mind. Thus, remember the things about the Great Depression when guys were jumping out of windows and killing themselves? Because the money was who they were. They had no identity outside of their bank account. Now, you got the middle class people who feeling that pinch of losing, being in the middle class and going to poverty, right? And some people, unfortunately, lose confidence in themselves. You know, it's kind of like the same thing as a guy. When a guy's in a relationship, he loses his job, or just a guy loses his job. Once he loses his job, he doesn't feel like a man anymore, right? Because your mind isn't open to the fact that if you lose a job, maybe you can make one. You're not thinking like that at the time because, you know, I'm broke. You're saying, I gotta eat. You know what I'm saying? But you get down on yourself because you don't feel productive. You don't feel like a productive member of society. You don't feel like you're going in the right direction. So now you're depressed because your mental health has went left because you feel like you're just taking up space. Now on the flip side, you can go from the middle class to upper class. You feel, you know, all this hard work I did paid off. I'm confident, I'm validated in everything that I am. I knew I was on that level. I just wasn't there at the moment. It was just a journey. And now I went from, you know, the middle to the top, or the bottom to the top. It really doesn't matter, right? You know, you had the confidence at the moment, but the climbing the mountain made you more confident, better and better and better and better and better, because you gain more money in the process, right? And then um, then you got the person who, how can I say this? The rich person who loses it all. When they want to blow their brains out. I know I talked about the people jumping out the thing and all that. But I'm not talking about that part right now. What I'm talking about is this part. Trying to hold on and get it back. That's what you see people reaching out, asking other rich people for help. And sometimes you have people who are like Bill Gates to Steve Jobs, who are like, look, I'm going to give you this $100 million. Let's get back on your feet. I need you in this game. And then you got other people who like, man, good riddance to bad rubbish. So that scrambling to get back or reaching out for help in that scenario it's a mental health issue, because sometimes you looked at as off, because you're defeated. You actually were a winner, but now you're a loser. And I think that's because if you were a winner and then you're looked at as a loser, in your mind you may still feel like I can win again. But mentally, it's a harder climb for some, because people lose faith in you because they look at you as a loser. They perceive you as a loser, so they treat you as a loser. And thus, you become in flux. Not even if you can be confident in yourself and know you're going to get back, but people are going to treat you as such. And, same thing with a different aspect is if you go from nothing to something. That's where some people have this larger than life confidence, because it's like a Messiah complex, whether it was given to you or whether you come up with it. Because if you just had nothing and then you just made a whole lot of something out of that, you're gonna think you can do anything. I make miracles happen, baby. Ride Tidwells. I want the Quan, Jerry. So, it's that winning, and if you have nothing and you just win a little bit, those, just a little bit, it's kind of it's easier to me to win little by little from the bottom than it is to maintain something. Because if once you go from nothing, zero, to a whole lot, you started at zero or negative. You know what I'm saying? You're like, shit, this is too easy. You know what I'm saying? I hit my number a long time ago. So you feel like, man, everything else is just gravy. It's just icing. Like you made it a long time ago, but other people just don't know it. So can you do this? Absolutely, I can do that. I can do this. I can do. This is the easiest shit ever, because your confidence goes through the roof, because the circles that you may frequent in when you've made it, they can't handle where you came from. So of course you feel like, I'm 10 times better than these people. They couldn't be me 15 years ago. They kill themselves. So, confidence through the roof. I think that's enough I covered on this subject. So, like I said, when I get in there 15 minutes, I'm just shutting it down. We out.